Alright, if you've been watching my videos, and especially the last couple ones, you know anything about me, you know this garage is probably not what I want it to be, or hasn't been. So I'm going to walk you through what I did last week when my older sons were here to clean this place up and actually make it more organized. A lot of what I do is very basic, very much framer level carpentry, but it gets you to where it's been. And if you've watched other videos I've done, you've probably seen this before. Some of the basic materials I'm using, obviously up high, I'm going to use 1/2-inch plywood and 2x4s. Simple framing, all tied into studs and into rafters or joists, whatever's up there. For the smaller stuff, and that's not really right for those tubs because you look, I've got more overhang than I want. That's temporary. When I go get more tools and do more of this, I'll bring that 2-foot shelf that way. Another brace of the 2x3, and it's the 2x3s with 15-inch shelf board basically is all I do. And I've done this in several places for several people, but here's the fun thing. So you get that curb like that right there, and you get a 12-inch shelf. You got way too much of a standoff back here, and you look, it protrudes into the garage another 2 inches, 3 inches, versus a 15-inch shelf up against the wall. It gives me more room to get in and out of the vehicle. I set the heights down there for what tool buckets I'm planning on putting back there. On that curb I can put some of the extra boxes that I don't really use all that often because most of those tools, those boxes belong to, they're actually in this bag now. For the future, yeah, this shelf isn't quite what I want it to be. I'll bring more 2-foot past all the way to where that is at. But I'm going to put one more shelf in there, readjust the size there, one more shelf across there. Those hanging things can stay. Today I'm probably going to fix this. These bike rack things, I'll put those on a stud here. Put them on a stud here so I can hang that and get rid of that. It's a nice little bike rack, and I'm sure my wife paid a pretty penny for it, but this is taking up too much room where I could have 2 bikes hanging here. That spare tire's got to go on the S10. This whole wall will stay flat. I'll probably get some hangers for a lot of the tools like the brooms, snow shovel over there, and hang them up against that wall. And that way when my wife parks here, she's got plenty of room on the side to be able to get in and out with kids. Keep this basically free and clear. Here's a cool thing too. Does that show up on the camera, I hope? But AccuPark little strips, and they come with double-sided tape. They're holding pretty dang well. But that right there is so I've got a visit or a feel of where I'm parking. I just bring the back tire in, boom, have the tire lined up right on this edge, and if my wife could actually get right on this edge, you'd have plenty of room between the two vehicles to actually open all the doors without banging either truck. Oh, the other thing to say, obviously you can see I painted the whole garage, and it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. Interesting discussions with my little boys, my older sons, about builder level home construction, how the builder's not going to spray the garage unless you pay them for that extra. Time is money, paint is money, so they're not going to do it. So obviously I went and patched a lot of the holes in here, very, very rough patches, fire taping basically. I mean, you can see some of that. There's some of the grid tape still showing through, but it's covered over, it's painted, it's good to go. The problem with this garage, if you can see up there, all that damage in there and in there, those of you that know construction well enough know you're looking at water damage right there. And you might be asking, why did I just paint right over that? Wouldn't I repair it? The drywall, I'm not worried about repairing. I'm not going to. The key is the HOA around here did go, all these balconies that are above, basically past this beam is a balcony in between the 2 bedrooms that are up above us. And that balcony had some water leaking, and they've fixed all that before we ever bought this place. But they never fixed any of the damage that's under here. So forward of that beam, the beam and on, there was in the past a lot of water intrusion that destroyed a lot of the drywall and joint compound. And that's a bugger to paint over. That stuff sucks to try to paint over because you roll and it just starts peeling off like that. So some other day when the temperatures aren't right now to be painting, but maybe in the spring sometime I'll pull out the paint again because I got plenty left over. And I'll give it another coat under there, especially under where the garage is at. But kind of pain in the butt. If it's me building a place, I'm going to paint the garage. I'm going to take the time to do it, because then you don't get your joint compound drying out. You don't get the paper drying out. And actually, to me, it brightens up the whole space a lot better, makes it look more finished. Instead of having just that brown paper with old rotten joint compound all dried out, especially up here in the desert. But yeah, this is probably, like I said, only a 50% solution, but you can see kind of what I do with garages, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it before in other garages I've been in. I've done it for 3 or 4 friends, family. But simply 2x4s, 2x3s, 1/2-inch plywood, 15-inch shelf board, and just go with it. And so still need to clean up this whole corner. I want all of that out of the way so I can get down and pass the Suburban around when I'm wanting to get in with the door shut. So that means lots more hangers that got to go on that wall to get a lot of this ladders and stuff out of the way. And so I got cleaner access to my compressor. And then I probably will do another brace of 2-foot shelving up high on that wall just to have the space. Because what I like is, you notice the tools I don't use all that often, these 2 table saws, the tile saw and the wood saw, they're up high, out of the way, not going to get damaged, not going to get screwed with. And they're up where they're going to stay clean and safe and ready for the next time I need them. Obviously, other things like that too. That's got my router and its equipment in it. Paint supplies and brushes, KC lights. Those eventually need to be on the Suburban someday. But I've got some left over from, I stripped them off of my 2000 Z71 Tahoe. I've kept them, so the wiring and everything is all in there. So someday I can put those on the Suburban. Obviously not on the roof line in this garage, but somewhere, somehow. You'll see that when I get to it. And all of these are just marked tools. But it's just various junk and stuff I have. Like this is all fasteners. I think that's welding supplies, and that's just miscellaneous junk. Actually, looking at that, that's probably a lot of my stereo stuff. I try to mark those bins like that too, so I know what I'm looking for. This one's unmarked and I don't remember what's in it. I better fix that sometime. But yeah, try to keep saws and stuff off the floor and out of the way of dirt. But the end goal is to get rid of these wire shelves. And the wire shelves aren't bad, but you notice something if you can see that. This one leans out, and that's just simply has to do with the way the floor is sloped to drain, which is another reason to do this with the shelving. If I was really getting meticulous about it, I wouldn't have used regular lumber right here. I'd use treated for these legs. Because as I was telling my boys, it's a tree, and trees are basically capillary in system, which means moisture will soak up and go up the board. I'm not worried about it here. I think it'll stay dry enough. If it becomes a problem, then I'll address it, which means I'll be tearing all this apart to put lumber in there. Or, I know there's other things I could do without tearing it apart. If that ever becomes a need, you'll see it. I'll show it. But yeah. Other things I need to do with this, obviously the only electricity in here is here and here, which is just inadequate. And if that part of the, what do you want to call that, the freaking door jamb there, if that didn't sink down lower on this side, I would have set up everything over on the opposite side. I would have done this opposite, because that power's already there and all my stuff could be there. But no, the Suburban only fits this side of the garage because you can see it how it dips. So it's got to be this way. So I'm going to have to take some electricity, conduit and stuff, and bring it all under here. In state is I'll probably take underneath these shelves on this back side, put some LED lighting in there so I can flip that on, and it gives me plenty of light on the workbench and on the tool shed. But, you know, garages, like trucks, they're always a work in progress. This did a whole lot. I mean, if you've paid attention to the last videos, especially the painting videos, this is way cleaner, and we're now ready for winter. We can set everybody inside. I mean, as far as the 2 vehicles we own. And it becomes a functional garage, not just a workspace. Now, I'd say too, as you can see that in there, if you know what you're looking at there, that's those tan-coated deck screws from Home Depot. So this is all screws, no glues. And you can see all tied in to where the studs are at. Real simple stuff, real simple to build. And I just took 8-footers, and you go to Home Depot and have them cut them down into 4-foot sections. Have them cut them right there at Home Depot. Makes it real easy to transport, no matter what size your vehicle is. You can have them do the same thing for your 2x3 stock too. Cut everything down to 4 foot. And just basic 2x3 studs. I love the time I went in there buying a whole bunch of 2x3s and had the kid, obviously never worked on a job site a day in his life, but he asked, what do you even use a 2x3 for? I almost laughed at him. No, I told him, I said, you can use it for all kinds of things. If you don't want full 2x4 depth, you use a 2x3. And like I said, inside I did that with the fireplace around. Do that out here. But so there's uses for 2x3s that you don't necessarily need a 2x4. 2x3 actually is a good deal because it gives you more than enough strength. I mean, I could do pull-ups off of this structure here now if I wanted to. It gives you more than enough strength to hold your heavier tools. I mean, there's no bow in that. If there is, it's because the wood is bowed. But yeah, this is about as solid as you can get. It's every single shelf is tied into all the studs. Yeah, I think I'm rambling now, so hopefully this does you some help if you're trying to figure out how to maximize your limited space, whatever garage size you have, or if you've got a big garage, how to maximize what space you got in a big garage. Either way, this is the way I go about it. Maybe it did you some good, hopefully so. Yeah, that'll end this update right here. If you came this far, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.